fed up with trying to get your FPV drones to fit nicely and organized into your bag? Is your FPV transmitter radio case just being an absolute pain and nightmare to fit inside? Maybe you're trying to impress those FPV ladies down at the park. Well, you need the BETAFLIGHT Hive backpack. Attaching a drone to the front of your backpack has never been easier. With this simple clip design, you can get ready to rock and roll in seconds. No radio case? No problem. With the BETAFLIGHT Hive backpack, you've got one built straight into the top of your FPV bag. And ladies down at the FPV park? No problem. But don't just take my word for it, let's check in with these pro pilot testimonials.
I owe all my success to the BETAFLIGHT backpack. I definitely wouldn't be able to build my van without it. When it comes to my biceps, bling, and my illegal bridge dives in Canada, nothing helps me more than this BETAFLIGHT backpack. My skills have actually improved as a direct result of this bag. Is this in focus? Oh no. Yeah. This BETAFLIGHT backpack, it's totally rad. Help me rip graveyards like you wouldn't believe. G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and look, no hard feelings against any of those guys. I'm massive fans of Bot Grinder, Matty Stunt, Steele. But today, you guys have obviously guessed it, you know, jokes aside, what we're going to be checking out is the BETAFLIGHT backpack. Now this backpack, it's absolutely packed full of features, but it's also pretty pricey. So what we're going to be doing in this video, we're going to be sticking it on the bench, breaking it down, having a look at how it comes, and then I'm going to be going through my personal process of how I set mine up, how I'm going to be using mine each day, and we're also going to hand it over to Grumpy Trev and Crash Test Cal, because they've had their bags for a little while, so we're going to find out how they set theirs up, what are the differences between their bags and my bags, you know, sort of the pros and cons, have a bit of discussion about some of the great features, some of the things we could maybe improve for next time, and then as a bit of a bonus too, massive shout out to my Patreon supporters, because look, I couldn't do UAVfutures without you. I know this is a really sought after item, so we've also got one to, you know, send off to one of my Patreon supporters, so that's going to be the December giveaway. So I'm pretty excited to be giving one of these, because I know it's definitely a luxury item and that not everybody can afford, but I know that everybody's going to want. So let's stick it on the bench and enough rambling and get started with this review of the BETAFLIGHT backpack. Alrighty, so here it is on the bench. I had to zoom out a little bit. Spoiler, my desk is actually an old door, so that's what I film on most of the time, but you guys just see this sort of cutting mat underneath. But we've got the BETAFLIGHT bag on the bench. What we're going to be doing, we're going to go through like a bit of an overview, so we'll break it down, have a look at some of its features, how it comes, what's inside, what you get, and then the important part, what I want to show you guys is how I'm going to set my bag up. Then we'll jump out to the field and we'll have a look at how Trev and Cal, how they set up their bags as well, because that might be interesting to see just how different pilots find it. Anyway, what we should do, let's jump in. So on the front here, we're going to start at this side first. You can see you've got 3 straps. These are pretty important because look, most people are going to be clipping their quads on right here. So this is how I transport a lot of my quads all the time. I don't really put any on the inside. I find it a little bit irritating. So yeah, no, it's made for racing quads. It's going to fit nicely. I do think though, if you've got 3 on here, some people might say putting 3 on here is fine. I feel like trying to put 3 on here would be a bit of a nightmare. So what I'd probably do, I'm probably only going to put 2 on. So 1 at the bottom, and then you're going to find you can fit 1 at the top. So that's how I'm going to do it. Trying to fit 3 on. This one, it's just probably going to be too crowded. Now, if we open it up underneath here, because this bag actually comes on 2 different sides. You've got the front side, which, believe it or not, is actually the underside when you're putting it face down. It'll make more sense in the field review when I flip the bag over. But and then on the back side, that's where most of the sort of stuff is happening. Now, if we open this up, this is what you get. This is what I think. This is a little hard case. This part would be like for putting a laptop or something like in here. So we'll open this up, see what we've got in here. Because this isn't going to fit my laptop. So this isn't, yuck, Apple, I know. But this isn't going to fit in here. So if you've got a small laptop or something like that, that's going to be fine. But for everybody else, I feel like this part, I'm not too sure what I'm going to put in here. We'll have to wait and see when I pack my bag. But open it up. Oh, I don't know what that's doing in there. But anyway, maybe get a free banana. But you get this little section here. So I've heard some people put in props and stuff like that. So, and then moving towards the sides, what we have here, you've just got to get like a little drink holder. Got this part right here, which I will recommend an improvement on one of these. Actually, these are some little flaps, which are important, and it's important that it opens up that way as well. You've got your little clip on the side. see another clip up here. Let's go through this pretty quickly because I want to show you the good stuff of how we set it up, even though you've got the same on this side as well, which is the exact same, which I personally think is a bit of a shame. So you've got another thing in there. And then what we have on the top, now this is one of the stars of the show, like you saw in that sort of bit at the start, you have this little part for your transmitter. So you can put your radio in the top there. It slides in very, very nicely. Now it's only going to fit a Tyrannus or smaller radios. Some of those other radios aren't going to fit, which is a massive shame in my opinion. Then flipping it over, let's pretend I've done all that up because we're professional reviews here. Well, you've got two nice big shoulder pads. I will say it is pretty comfy when you're wearing it, which is important because this bag, it's a special niche bag. It's expensive and I think it's a luxury, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, I can't afford that. And look, I think they're well within their limits, well within their rights to say that, but this bag is made for a specific purpose, and this is exactly what this is for. So if we open this up in here, what we have, you can see you've got quite a nice little spread of things you can do. So one part that I'm not sure if I like, you've got your lipo bag right here. So if you do want to carry some lipos in there, you can do that. So let's put that to the side. Then you've got this little part here, that's a little GoPro holder. So if you're going to do some vlogs or something like that. And then all this part is interchangeable. Like a lot of our backpacks, you can move this stuff around, make your own, you know, however you want to sort that. So I'm going to be showing you how I set mine up in a minute because that's the exciting part. On this part here, you've got your little toolkit. Sorry, headphone users, if that hurt your ears. We've got this little part here. This is where you're going to put your tools. So this will be replacing something for me. I know in my current pack, I'll be changing some things out to this. That simply clicks on the top here, and it is handy. You can take that out totally, especially if you're traveling or something like that. And then here's another section. Maybe this is where some other people might want to put their laptops. So if you've got one of those bigger laptops, you can sort of slide it in the top, but you can see it's not ideal in my opinion. You know, those bigger ones, it's still just a little bit too small. Anyway, and then on the top, what we've got, this is just, I guess, like a little zip with some mesh, and then there's not too much more I can say about the actual compartments. Anyway, what we should do now, that was a brief overview. That was probably the boring part of the video. So look, here's some straps, here's the bag, here's some clips, all that stuff. I want to show you how I set mine up because I'm going to be using this all the time, and is it going to be making me make the jump over to use this bag because I carry a lot of stuff on. So we'll set it up, we'll talk about some pros and cons, and then jump out to the field. So let's cut back with the magic of editing to what I've done and what the bag looks like in 3, 2, 1, rightio. Here it is. Here's how I'm going to be rocking around with my BETAFLIGHT backpack. So let's go through the setup, and then I can show you the things I really like, and then the things I think we could improve on, hopefully in another revision, because there's quite a bit to discuss about this bag. So you can see on the front, like I was mentioning, you're not going to be clipping down too many quads. I know it does have these 3 straps. One is going to be absolutely fine. 2 on the front is manageable, I guess, and then but I couldn't fit any more than this. Now this might not be a problem for you because not everybody has a drone where they've got a lot of drones to take out and review. So you can see I'm at least going to be taking 4, and I've strapped those to the outsides too. So I put one on this side, and then I've got my Norris over this side as well. So I'm going to take those off because that part's going to make the rest of the review a little bit difficult. Alright, so they're to the side. Now let's get into the good stuff. Let's talk about, I guess, the internals, how I set my bag up, because honestly, this is my job now. I work with this stuff all the time, and this is pretty much my workstation when I'm out in the field. Everything here, I want it to be streamlined. I want it to work well. I want flying, repairs, all that stuff to be easy, and hopefully that's what we're going to try and accomplish with this bag. So in the top, look, there was no surprises here. Of course, this is where I'm going to be putting my radio. So I've got my Tyrannus in there, and what I should do actually, we're going to flip this over. I'm not going to talk about what's in here just yet. So let's flip this over, and so you can see when it's face down, this is how it's going to be resting on the ground. I can open it up, pop, there's my radio ready to rock and roll. So that's going to be there. Put that to the side. Let's have a look at the main compartments here. So here we go. So this is going to slide open. You can see I did have my tools here, and I know, look, this has got some pros and cons, and I saw in Joshua Barbwell's video, he made a big deal saying it was useful, but also a little bit annoying trying to slide them in and all that sort of stuff. To be honest, I'm not really going to use my screwdriver or my shifter too much. I might pull this out, and I'll probably leave that out for most of the day while I'm flying around and then put it back in. It might be a little bit, annoying to some people, but I can spend that 2 seconds to put it in. So look, I don't find that much of a big deal. Got my battery checker there in the middle right here. This is where I did find it useful. I could just throw in some spare screws and some spare parts and still keep it pretty flat. So let's put that to the side. Now this one's a bit controversial. I did leave this part in here because I'm going to talk about why that's in there and why that's going to be useful for a lot of people. A lot of the time though, I'm not going to be storing my batteries in it because I take a lot of batteries, and to be honest, if something goes up in flames, it's not going to be the best. But we do have that option. So in here, this is probably where I'm going to be storing my micros. So if I've got some little micros, things I want to take out and review, like this one, which will be getting reviewed soon. I think that's the egg. And then I also just have some other things that I'm not going to be using too much, but occasionally enough to have them out. So my TBS lap timer, all that sort of stuff. So it is a good little compartment that you can use if you don't want to use it for batteries. Now in the middle here, you can see there's not really too much, and I understand that not everybody is going to be having a speed gun and a secondary filming camera, all that sort of stuff in their bag. If you wanted to do that, and that's why it's going to be important to see how Cal and Trev and those guys set up their bags, I think this bag is going to be much better suited, because look, it's not perfect for everybody, and I'm not saying it's perfect for me, because I'm in a bit of a different situation. I take different things to the field that I don't expect most drone pilots are going to be taking. So you can see here, one thing I did like, so we've got these little things, they come with it. I'm going to be using these to hold down my speed gun, so that's so we can get some laps, get some speeds there, so we'll put that to the side. Here's my Fat Sharks, and I know that Joshua Barbwell, he kept his like a bit loose to put them in there and stuff like that, but for me, I like them in here. I like them in their own separate little case that I can slide in, because that means it's not going to be getting any dirt in it. If something, like sometimes these bags can get very dirty when you take them out to the field. I want my glasses, like, they're probably the most expensive kit that I have. I want these things to be looked after, so I've put mine in a little separate compartment right here. And then the only other thing in here, and you think, Stuart, that doesn't look like too much, and that's the beauty of this bag, the way it sort of goes through stuff. You actually do get a fair bit of space. Now the only other thing I've got in here is props. I couldn't really find any good place to put props because they're a little bit annoying, but here's a nice little tip for you guys. If you get the cyclones or something, I always just put them through a zip tie, and then when I want to use them, I can just press them out the bottom of the bag, and I don't have to worry about all that rubbish or anything like that, because it just all stays in one part. So put my props to the side, and then you can see this part actually fitted quite well. This is my little filming rig that we do a lot of the filming on. That's just going to be sitting at the front, and you might be thinking, Stuart, is that it? And no, good sirs and lasses, there actually is more to this bag. But the way I've set this out is so I can do my filming, I can do my work straight away, and if something else happens where I need something that's a little bit different, say I need a soldering iron, say I need just some other stuff that I don't use all the time, maybe a spare pair of goggles, all that sort of stuff, that's where I've sort of done some things differently. So we're going to close this up right now, and then we're going to jump over, and I'm going to show you what I've got in the front and on the sides. Now look, on the front, some people might be putting their laptop in there. I would suspect actually that most people, sorry, I should have done this while it was open, most people are going to be putting their laptop in this part here. That's where if I did have one, I'd probably be sitting it in here. So in this front part, I had to think, well, what am I going to use that for? Because I'm not going to be accessing this too much, and if I do, I'm going to have to zip my bag up, flip it around the other way. So that part I thought, well, I've got stuff in here that I'm not going to use all the time. It's going to be very, very specific and only if I need to, and hopefully I'm not going to have to. So if we open this up, you can see in here I've got my spare goggles, and look, this is a bit crazy to see. These are actually my spare goggles, these fly keys, and you guys might never have heard of that. I'll leave a link to that up here somewhere. They're my actual backup goggles because I take them everywhere. The range on those things is crazy. So, that's why I use those as my secondary goggle, even though they're really, really cheap. Then we've got my soldering iron, which I have in a little sort of battery case. So, and then right here, this is where I've just got some little adapters and extra USB cords, all that sort of jazz. So these three things that I'm going to be keeping in here, I'm going to be using very, very rarely, or that's the plan anyway. And the whole idea is I don't want to have to open this. I don't have to change too much stuff around. I don't want to have to deal with these things if I don't have to. So they're out of the way, and I really, really like that. Now when it comes to the side, I didn't really put anything in here, and I feel like this is a missed opportunity. I guess some people could put some other things in here. I did have some in the other side. I'm going to be sticking a drink bottle on this side, and usually I need to find somewhere to put my chair. So I've got this little chair here, and that's something that's unfortunate. I felt like this bag, if I was going to try and strap it down or strap it over, even on these full extensions, so let me show you right here. Even when this is fully extended, it was still really, really tight. And this is a brand new chair, so it's actually packed really, really small. My other one's the same brand and stuff, but it's not going to fit so well. So I do wish these straps were a little bit longer, because I'm going to just have to thread that through. So that part's a little bit frustrating. On the other side, I did something a little bit different. And what I actually did is, if you guys can see, you can see I put all... I put all my Velcro straps and stuff like that, because often I meet people in the field and they want to give them a Velcro strap, and you know, they're pretty excited for those things. And here was also where I put my spare antennas, because they used to just be in a little compartment in my old one. I use them very rarely, so it's not all the time that I need a spare antenna, but at least I've got them here, and it is something that might save me in the field if I'm absolutely desperate. So that's how my bag's set up, and I really like what this bag is going for. You know, I like how the transmitter's in the top, all that sort of stuff. I like how I've got my main stuff that I'm going to use all the time, and then if we think about it on the back, some stuff that I'm not going to have to use. What I do want to talk about though is things that, you know, this bag's not perfect. It's expensive, it's not perfect, and it's not going to be for everybody. And I understand that my circumstances are very different from the majority of pilots out there, but I think there's a few things that FPV model can do, and I don't know if they'll like me saying this, but you know, because this is their first go at this bag, and it is really good, but I think they're good at listening, and these are my recommendations on how we can improve this. Now, number one, the first thing I want to address, it sort of comes down to the options you have to put things in here. Here's another little thing too. I thought I might use this in the future if I've got some little things I want to stick in there. That's going to be a nice little useful part. But when you come to these little pads that you've got on the inside, and you'll see that at the start of the video, how this was all sort of lined out, these things are all the same, so you don't get any different sizes. So I wanted actually one that was only about this long, but that wasn't an option. I either had to go all this way or use some of these short ones. So that part was a little bit frustrating. On top of that, because of the shallow style of the backpack, you know, you really only get your options to sit, say, your fat shark case down flat. I would have liked it if the bag was a little bit deeper, or we at least had some options where we could have them up vertically, because that's going to give us a lot more space. And in that same way, I would have liked it, you know, I don't need too much more, but then I could have had the possibility of having some things upright like this, because let's say like that. It doesn't need to be too much deeper, and then this bag would be able to hold a lot. And in saying that, one thing I liked on my old bag, you know, I'll see if I can show you guys, I'll get that on the screen, one sec. So this is my old bag right here. One thing I did like, this is where I'd set a lot of my micros, and underneath this was sort of like a dual layer, because the way I'd set that up, it meant I could use the bottom space. That was where I'd keep my soldering iron and all that sort of stuff, and then I still had this top space, so you weren't losing all that sort of vertical play. It isn't, oh, just dropped a lot of broken props, but that vertical plate, it's not really there with the BETAFLIGHT bag. Now, another thing too to the BETAFLIGHT guys, look, I do like how you can remove this, but one part I would like would be if you just had, maybe if this side was made out of the same material, so when this is in the bottom here, and I understand that not everyone's going to use this, but if you want to, this would be a good option, that you could actually attach some of these little parts to this, because at the moment it's just sort of non-stick. The Velcro doesn't stick too well to that, so that part's frustrating as well. I would like it if I could actually secure some things down. If this was shorter, it would be much neater if I could just clip it straight on there. So that would be a little tip as well. The third thing, look, I do think the laptop option, if you know, it still needs to be a little bit bigger, not by much, because look, that's getting pretty close, but I do wish it was just a little bit more space, please. That would be my little recommendation. And then number 4, and this is where I really want the guys over there to think, if you do anything FPV model, please do this in your next backpack, because this backpack, look, I understand my situation different, but I really think this has something going for it with the transmitter up here. You know, you can put your batteries in there if you want to. Maybe you just want to, this might be a backpack, or this might be a backpack, you know, that you just grab, you take out, and you can just put on your back, go for a hike. I'm thinking people like Bull Buffett, those people who go exploring with their quads, cool places that aren't easy to get. This is what this backpack should be for, and it's almost there. You know, you just want something you can throw all your stuff in, go flying, and just get stuff out, and it's so easy. And we're halfway there with the radio, but here's my recommendation. So number 1, you know, you've got your radio in here. That's great. You got your quads on the front, but you still need to put your bag down, open it up, get your gear out, you know, get your FPV goggles out. What we've got on the side here, like we mentioned, you know, so we've got these parts on the side. We've got 2 of these. These are sort of almost useless, at least for me in my situation. I've got a lot of stuff, and I don't know what else you're going to be keeping in here. Maybe some tools and stuff, so that's fine, you know, you might have one. But we don't need one on the other side as well, so I don't know why that one's there. What I really wish they'd do is take one of these, redesign it. So we've already got one on the other side. Let's say it's just like this. This one, if they could redesign it to be a little bit shorter and maybe sort of the same size as like some fat sharks. So if you've got your goggles on the outside, you actually had your little goggle pouch in the side right there. And it was protected, you know, that part was a little bit hard. Maybe if you could pretty much make it like that was mounted on the side, I would be a big fan of that. And then on the flip side, maybe too, if you could have here just some spaces, like maybe this went a little bit longer up here, and instead of this part, you know, where I'm keeping my antennas, which let's be honest, that's sort of useless if you're using the tools inside. If this part could be, you know, if it was lined with your battery lining too, so you could maybe store your lipos in here. And the reason that's important, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 lipos, the reason that's important, because then we've got our radio, we've got our goggles, we've got our lipos, everything else inside we're only going to need if it's an emergency, say tools, spare props, all that sort of yada yada jazz. And then on the front we've got our quad. You can take this up, you can go ready, you can go flying, you can hike all day, put your quad off, pull this out, put your goggles out in about 2 seconds, put a battery on, you're ready to rock and roll. So if you've got to, you know, do a bit of a mission, reconnaissance mission, whatever, this bag is ready to go. That's where I want to see, I guess, the next version of the BETAFLIGHT bag. So the BETAFLIGHT V2, whenever that comes out. Anyway, that's enough rambling about this thing on the bench. What we should do, let's jump out, cut out to the field, see Crash Test Cal, Grumpy Trev, because they've got some BETAFLIGHT bags as well. See how they've set that up, capture some of their thoughts, and then we'll sort of compose it all, and then wrap up the video. So let's jump out to the field and see what they think in 3, 2, 1.
All right, Cal, so you've had the BETAFLIGHT backpack for a while. Do you want to, I guess, what's your overall impressions of it? Just to start us off before we jump in and have a look at how you've set yours up.
It's well made, it's relatively compact. Everything's well condensed. I'm used to a bigger backpack, which I had before, which was a Turnigy multi-star backpack.
Yep.
And that was rather bulky, but you could fit everything in it.
And what about this one? How do you find fitting everything in this?
You can fit everything in it too, because it's really well thought out. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so do you want to show us how you set up? we're going to skip some boring parts. So I'm assuming you've got your transmitter in the top, right?
I have the transmitter in the top.
Yep.
Keep a quad on the back here.
Yep.
Keep a quad on the side here.
Yep.
Keep a quad on the top here.
How do you strap the one on the top on?
The one on the top, I've just used some old
yep.
Velcro straps.
Okay, gotcha.
That works really good.
Yep.
So
bit of a shout out to MRM.
That's it, so I can put another quad on there without any hassle at all.
Yep.
And this is a hard enough shell that it doesn't compact your radio.
Yep. We've covered that bit in my bench review. What about this front pocket? Did you put anything in? Do you put anything in any of these pockets? Is there anything inside here?
This is my prop bag.
Oh, yep.
Which I think most people are using for props at the moment.
Yep. What's in the side pocket?
Side pockets are tools.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Here I've got some antennas, some cable ties.
Yep. God, these look like mushrooms.
Mix.
Did you make these?
No, they're bird's eye view antennas from the Netherlands. They're very good.
Okay, there you go. Shout out to those guys. And what's on the other side? Tools?
Just more tools. That's it.
Yep. All right. So open us up and let's see how you've packed the goods in the middle.
Okay, I've got a laptop. I've got my iPad in the back there.
Yep.
I've got tools in the top.
Yep.
I keep my glasses because I'm an old man.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Keep my glasses in the top there.
Yep. Well, old is relative, I guess. There's some other members of UAV who are significantly older, but we won't say any names. Yep.
Exactly right. And this is a tool pouch which comes off, as you know.
Yep.
Here I keep antenna tubes and little bits and pieces in there.
Maybe some zip ties or something you could put in there.
Yep, exactly right. The main tools straight on the top.
Yep.
So that's
and then this is the bit I'm interested in. So let's have a look. This is sort of very similar to how it looks like it came.
Yeah, I kept it in the default mode. I haven't got too experimental yet because I just wanted to try to see what it was like to carry the batteries in the bag, because usually I always carry the batteries separately.
Mm-hmm.
And
what did you think?
I think it makes a heavy pack once you've got all your batteries and everything in it, but it's an all-in-one solution. You don't have to worry about carrying a separate container with your batteries in it or anything.
Okay, so, and look at how many do you reckon if you had to guess?
I reckon about
20?
I could fit, what's 3 times 8?
I don't know, mate.
Yes,
a billion?
About 25 batteries. I can fit 3 rows of batteries into this bag.
Yep.
Which is about 8 in each row, so
yep.
That's not too bad. It's usually enough to get you by for the day. I've got all the just miscellaneous stuff, my antennas, screws, I've got some tapes, all the stuff for my goggles I keep here, my antennas, my batteries for my goggles I keep here.
Yep.
All the TPU stuff, GoPro mounts, I keep right underneath there.
GoPro straps, and then you got your goggles at the top there. That's a good idea as well.
I keep my goggles at the top. Yeah, it just
they're probably well protected there too under this hard part, so they're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, they're not going to get squished or anything. So I found that to be a really great spot, and you can just use that Velcro piece to just keep it in place.
No worries. All right, so I guess sum up this bag. Who do you think it's good for? What's its pros, and then what's its cons?
I think it's good for anyone that's seriously into the hobby.
Yep.
If you've got a little bit of cash to spend and you don't mind shelling out. So yeah, if you're looking for a really decent quality bag.
And what's your favorite thing about it?
Its compactness.
Okay.
The fact that it's an all-in-one solution. It's really good quality. It's well made. And you know, I don't have to carry a battery box around anymore, so
all right,
that's great.
No worries. And what about anything you'd like to change on there?
Not really. Look, I'm going to experiment with it some more. I'm going to get it out of default mode eventually, and I'm going to work out if I can put a quad in there with the props on perhaps.
Yep.
And be able to keep a quad on the inside as well. But that just takes a little bit of planning and a little bit of adjustment, and I think I'll be able to do that.
All right, so does that mean you might have a video coming up finally on your channel? Is that like a sneak peek for you?
Yeah, eventually.
Okay.
January.
All right, Cal's gonna do a video, guys, look out. All right, thanks very much, Cal. Trev, so we've got the BETAFLIGHT backpack. You can see you all got your hat on, and it is super windy, so we've had to come in this little shelter here. But what do you think? What's I guess your first impressions of the BETAFLIGHT backpack? Because you've been using it for a bit, so what do you think?
Well, look, I really like it. It's nice and compact.
Yep.
The only thing I don't really like is the way the quads hook onto the thing. I could have done that a bit better. They're really a bit loose. Fit on the side okay, but the ones across the front are pretty ordinary. But other than that, I really like it. It's nice and compact. I've actually got batteries in there. It's pretty heavy today, but normally I wouldn't have the batteries in there, but everything fits in really good, and yeah, pretty happy with it so far.
So do you want to open it up and show us how you set yours up?
And I'll get it dirty.
Yeah, all right, that'll do. So do you want to take your quads off the front, or you just going to throw them down?
Oh no, I better take the front ones off.
Alrighty. So did you have anything in that front pocket before we get started with opening the main bit? Because you obviously got your radio up there, right? Yeah. And what have you got in this bit?
I've got all the props in there.
Oh yeah, that's the same as what Cal did as well.
Yeah, it's pretty small, so it's not a lot of room in there.
Yep. But is there anything in the side pockets?
What have I got in the side pockets? I don't remember. We'll have a look.
Probably nothing.
It's a bit like when you ask me questions, I can't remember what's
in. So there's nothing in that one.
Nothing in that one, no.
Man, it is so windy, like ridiculous.
I would have loved a spot for a drink bottle on this.
Yep, so no drink bottles really going to, like there's this little pocket.
Yeah, but geez, it's only a mouthful.
Yep.
This one I've got a few spare parts for me
standoffs and junk.
And everything.
Yep.
So we can actually pick stuff up.
Alright, let's open it up and see how you set yours out. Alrighty. So you got your tools there, that's the same. You got batteries in that part?
Yeah, it's all, this is full of batteries.
Yep, that's exactly the same as Cal.
Not a real lot today because I didn't think we're going to be able to fly, but it's a bit windy out there. I've got a small quad in there, another one in here, a few spare antennas.
So you got some micros on the inside?
Yeah, there's a little micro on there.
Fat Sharks over there?
Yeah, Fat Sharks, spare set over here.
Yep.
They're actually my Onways in there.
Yep.
In here, sunscreen, bug spray, which you need out in Australia. Lots of bugs here. Doesn't keep Stu away though. A bit of tape, a couple of GoPro mounts, GoPro in the bag.
Yep. And what's in the top there?
Spare antennas.
So you can see you got some little. What have you got right at the top?
Right at the very top. That's just
cords.
Spare cords in case we break them. That's a spare antenna.
Yep. All right. So you've used this bag for a little bit. What's your impressions? What's your favorite 3 things about it?
I really love the way you can put the tools in here.
Yep.
That saves you a lot of space. You can put more shit in your bag.
Yeah, I like my tools like that. Yep.
And I love the way it comes off.
Yep. Did you find it annoying putting them in or out there? Because I know some other, like Josh, he didn't like sliding his tools in there. He thought that part was a little bit frustrating. Did it bother you?
No, not really, because you've got to take it with you anyway.
Yep.
And there's even room. I've got a little tablet in here too, in case we want to do some work on the the quads. So I really like this bit. This is great because you can see when the tools are missing, and Stu's always borrowing me tools, so he never brings his own. But,
all right. Yeah. Do you like the radio and stuff like that in its separate component, in its separate little, I guess, compartment?
I don't think that's really big enough, but
okay.
It's a really tight fit.
Yep. What have you got in there?
I've got the Tyrannus in there.
Yep. Oh, the special edition.
Yeah, and look, it's really right on the edge.
Yeah. So.
I don't really know about that bit there.
Yep. So you'd almost have to take the antenna off every time you put it in.
Yeah, just about. It's not too bad because I know it's here. I'm a bit careful, but I'd be pretty pissed if I did break it. But other than that, I do like it.
What about, so if you could do anything you'd like to improve?
Yeah, how you mount the quads on the outside.
Yep. What don't you like about that?
I think the straps are too long. They need to have a few more straps, and
but shorter.
Just short, or closer together, so you can actually put two quads side by side instead of 2 quads in the one
line vertically.
Yeah, because they do get a bit loose. So.
Yep. And who do you think this bag is after? Because you're right, it is more expensive. So who do you think this bag? Who's their market?
Look, I reckon the guys that what do you want to get up and go for a bit of a walk.
Yep.
And just take a sort of a It's not quite a day pack, but you probably take a dozen batteries with you, do your dozen batteries and go home.
Okay, too easy.
Yeah.
All right, so are you going to keep using this bag? Is this going to be your main bag?
Oh, look, I think so at the moment, and unless it gives me the shits.
All right, and then maybe you can do an update video. Cal reckons he's going to do a video, so look out, Cal's going to do an update video as well. So yeah, all right, nice. So give it, I guess, give it a Grumpy Trev rating out of 10 for value.
Oh, it's probably about a 7.
Yep, and what about for performance?
For performance, give it an 8.5.
Okay, too easy. All right, nice. Thanks, Trev. I'll let you pack this up and kick some more dirt on it.
Good. Now it's dirty. I've got to brush it down now.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my full review. I know it was a long video. I can't believe it went for like half an hour, but there's my review of the Hive BETAFLIGHT backpack. And overall, it's a really, really solid choice. Fantastic stuff. Really well thought out. And I think it's the best designed backpack for our hobby. Like, it's going after exactly what we want, but it's not perfect, you know. I do love the transmitter case and those sorts of things, but it is more expensive than some of the others, and I think you're going to struggle if you've got a lot of stuff to fit in there. And I know I'm in a different situation than most people, but for me it is a little bit tougher, I guess, to fit everything in here and all my drones on there. But for most pilots out there, I think they're going to absolutely love something like this. But it's a bit of a luxury as well when it's coming in at that price. So you're definitely paying, you know, top dollar to get such a luxurious bag. Now, FPV model, if you're listening, please take into account, or if you want to contact me about designing another bag or a V2 where we could have some Fat Shark things on the side, got some other ideas, you know, those sorts of parts, batteries on this side, so you can take this out, rip this thing around, because I think it's most of the way there. The people this is definitely designed for are those people like Nurk FPV. You might be going for a bit of a hike up a mountain, or, you know, you might be going somewhere where maybe you shouldn't be flying, you want to get in and out. You've got this on your bag, unclip your drone, take out a battery, take out your Fat Sharks, your radio's right here, you're ready to rock and roll. You can get flying without even having to open up this bag if you don't need to. So overall, look, I'm a massive fan. Now remember too, I am giving one of these away to my Patreon supporters, so a massive shout out to those guys, because I couldn't do UAVfutures without your support, couldn't share this message of FPV, and I know this bag, look, you know, with the price, it's not going to be for everybody, but everybody's going to want one because it is pretty luxurious. So congratulations, I'm going to be giving that out in December, so good luck to all my Patreon supporters. I really hope someone out there gets the most out of this, because it really is a really nice backpack. Anyway, what do you guys think about it? Drop your comments down below. What do you think about those improvements I was suggesting, and maybe if we ever get around to getting a V2 of the Hive out? Subscribe for more FPV related content. A Merry Christmas coming up soon, and as always, happy flying. Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.